Hello, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Big World Cinema. Without further ado, we'll continue with what you're here for. And to ensure this channel survives, please don't skip the ads. Thank you. Okay, your time is limited. Maybe you've got a 2 or 3 week holiday, so you need to choose wisely. I've just spent 4 months travelling around the Philippines. Well, a small percentage of it. But you're probably not past it like me, with less time ahead of you. The Philippines has over 7,000 islands. I guess you knew that anyway. But how many can you name? I read so many posts online asking similar questions. I've got a fortnight, a month, 6 months in the Philippines. Which places should I visit? Each person is unique and may not like the same island as another person. If you've got deep pockets and want to spoil your 5th wife on her honeymoon, then live lavishly on Palawan or Boracay. Are you an outdoorsy, adventurous person? An adrenaline junkie into surfing or cliff jumping? Or just a junkie? Are you young, old, into nightclubbing, or like being in bed by 10 p.m. and awake with the roosters? Are you into yoga, or are you a beach bum? Do you prefer cities? The choices are endless. Travel would be far easier and flexible if you're a motorbike rider, but I'm not, so I'm at the mercy of public transport. But that's no biggie, as getting around the Philippines is pretty straightforward and a lot easier, with most people able to communicate in English. Assuming you're able to speak English, of course. A crucial piece of advice would be don't attempt to do too much. Travelling huge distances by car, bus or motorbike that eats into your days, knacker you out, and doesn't actually give you quality time to enjoy yourself. Stick to a small area visiting neighbouring islands, or travel by plane between destinations. Flights are cheap in the Philippines, although be warned that Cebu Pacific has a history of cancelling flights at the last minute. So here's my suggestions. Forget Manila. Fly straight to Cebu. Book an Airbnb or hotel and spend a couple of nights in Cebu City. You can either take a taxi or catch a bus from Mactan Airport to SM City Mall, which takes around an hour. This is what I did when I first landed in Cebu City 3 years ago. Of course, when I got off the bus at SM City, there were a line of taxi drivers ready to pounce and ask silly money to take me to my Airbnb just outside IT Park. But a friendly reminder to use the meter please was granted. Cebu City is quite small. Taxis around the city are cheap. If you're energetic, you can walk, or if you're more energetic, use a jeepney. Visit the sites in the city. Yap Santiago Ancestral House, the Heritage of Cebu Monument, Santo Nino Basilica, Magellan's Cross, and Fort St. Pedro at Plaza Independencia, which is a nice park where people gather to socialise of an evening and weekend. Cebu Taoist Temple is also worth a visit, apparently. It was always closed when I tried to go there. A visit to Cebu won't be complete without visiting the malls. Filipinos love their malls. You'll see many expats hanging out all day at Ayala Centre. But SM Seaside is the better mall to visit, in my opinion. If you're extending your visa, you'll also need to visit the mall at Robinson's Galleria, which is actually a lovely mall. Forget the mall at IT Park, as it's rubbish. But Sugbo Mercado Food Court inside IT Park is worth a visit. as is just walking around the area, which comes alive at night. Also, don't be confused with the other Sugbo Mercado at Business Park in Cebu, which is a bit lame in comparison. Alternatively, the food stores at Carbon Night Market will also give you a flavour of the vast food that the Philippines has to offer. Live musicians play there each night, unlike at Sugbo Mercado in IT Park, where musicians only play during the week. If you're fond of rooftop bars, which I certainly am, and whilst you're in IT Park, you should visit the Straight Up Bar on the roof terrace at Cedar Hotel. Alternatively, Verified Lounge at the Avenir building is not far away, as is Highlights Roof Terrace Bar at Harold's Evo Hotel. Having a beer or cocktail at the rooftop bars isn't expensive. It certainly won't set you back as much as a cocktail or beer in Manhattan or Bangkok, believe me.
Welcome to Highlights Harold. Please subscribe. Big One Cinema. Welcome to Highlights Harold. And please subscribe to the Big
Outside the city, you should take a taxi or ride a motorbike up to the hills to visit Sirao Picture and Flower Gardens in Sirao, funnily enough. On the way back, you should dine at La Vie in the Sky or Top's Restaurant, admiring the lovely views of Cebu City down below. You should check my YouTube videos of Cebu City. There's only 80 of them. Okay, the city's done. Now head outside of Cebu. You've got two choices. You can either go north to the islands of Camotes, Malapascua or Bantayan, or go south, young man, to visit Moalboal and Oslob. Or do both, head north and south. It doesn't really matter which direction you go first, however. If you head south to Oslob, then go to Moalboal and want to continue to Bantayan, transport will go via Cebu City, not along the west coast via Toledo City. Don't ask me why. I visited Camotes, a lovely island 34 kilometers from Cebu City, in April 2021 by taking a bus to Danao Port and catching a ferry from there. Now you can take a ferry directly from Cebu City, Pier 1. Camotes is lovely, but it's huge, and you really need a motorbike to travel around the island. Alternatively, you could visit Malapascua, which is tiny, and although beautiful, doesn't hold much interest to me. Unless you're an absolute beach bum looking for a romantic getaway, I'd advise ignoring those two islands and heading directly to Bantayan Island, off the north coast of Cebu. I took the bus the 110 kilometers, taking just over 3 hours from the northern bus terminal in Cebu City to the port at Hagnaya to catch a ferry. I left Cebu City early morning, avoiding the rush hours when traffic movement in and out of the city is painfully slow. Since March 2023, You can fly twice a week to Bantayan Island from Cebu on Tuesdays and Thursdays only. Price is just 1,300 pesos one way, which is 19 quid or $24. So it's 2,600 pesos round trip, which is incredibly cheap. But there are only 30 seats available, however, so you need to book in advance through Air Joan. You may think you're saving plenty of time by flying, but you still have travel time and hanging around at Mactan Airport. So although the actual flight to Bantayan Island is only 40 minutes, the journey from the city to Mactan could take an hour. It may be more convenient just taking a bus, and then you're able to check the scenery en route, which you won't see from 36,000 feet in the sky. Or fly there on Tuesday and fly out on Thursday, although that will be pushing yourself. So maybe fly there on Tuesday and take the bus back. Or fly there on Thursday and take the bus back. The ferry from Hagnaya Port to Santa Fe takes 1 hour. Bantayan Island is lovely. It's a great place to stay for 3 days. Good beaches can be found at Kota Beach and Sugar Beach. There's some good bars in town for a bit of nightlife if that's what you want. There's some nice towns to visit on the island. One day I hired a bicycle to explore the vicinity of Santa Fe and cycled to Bantayan town, which has a lovely old church. Another day I rode jeepneys all day, travelling to Madridios in the north, which was a lovely way to meet the locals. Although it would be easier renting a motorbike to circumnavigate the island. So you spent 3 nights in Cebu City, 3 nights on Bantayan. Next place I suggest on your itinerary would be Muobuo. I visited Muobuo on a separate trip, taking a bus from the southern bus terminal in Cebu City. Muobuo is 89 kilometers away and took 3.5 hours to reach. On arriving in Muobuo, you need to register at the municipal tourism office and pay a 25 pesos environmental fee. Muobuo is a good spot with a couple of lovely beaches at White Beach and Lambug Beach. There's also beautiful waterfalls at Kawasan Falls and canyoneering if you're feeling active. Well worthy of a 2-night stay, there's a strip of lively bars next door to each other in the main street, competing at 200 decibels to perforate your eardrums, with a livelier nightlife scene than Bantayan, if that's your bag. I didn't bother heading further south to Oslo to see the whale sharks, although many people do and have thoroughly enjoyed the experience. You can actually do a day trip from Cebu City, although that makes for a very early start. From either Muobuo or Bantayan, you'll return to Cebu City to continue your travels. From there I'd advise you to go to Bohol. Am I stating the blinking obvious when I say that travelling between neighbouring islands is beneficial for an easier journey? From Bantayan Island, I headed back to Cebu City by bus, then straight onto a ferry to Tagbilaran. I was cutting it fine in time for the 2 p.m. ferry, but fortunately running on Filipino time, its departure was delayed. Ferry time to Tagbilaran port is 2 hours. Bohol is a great island with friendly Boholians. You can't go wrong visiting Bohol. If I had the choice of visiting either Cebu or Bohol, I'd go to Bohol. You've got a choice of 9 beaches to chill out on Panglao Island. Most people gravitate to Alona Beach. But there's other great beaches such as White Beach and Dumaluan Beach, which offer a more upmarket vibe. I love beaches which have a choice of bars you can chill out along the periphery of the beach and have a beer whilst enjoying the sunset. Sure, you can do that in Batayan, Camotes or Muobuo, but not to the same extent that you can in Alona Beach. I stayed there for a week, but the constant approach by touts offering taxi services or island hopping tours, plus the constant badgering by souvenir sellers, can be exhausting. I moved into Tagbilaran city as I love cities, although there's nothing much of interest here. Unless you're on an extended break like what I is and have more time. But I found it more convenient booking a day tour of Bohol through my hotel rather than booking and travelling from Panglao Island. I'm not a fan of organised day tours, but it was more convenient to see all the interesting sights around Bohol rather than trying to see them all myself. A driver turned up at my hotel at 8 a.m. and took me to the blood compact site, Baclayan Church, the man-made forest, Chocolate Hills, the Tarzia Sanctuary and the Lobok River Cruise. It was a great, fun-filled day. Naturally, I made a couple of videos of the day, travelling to all the different sites. The tour cost me 2,750 pesos for the driver, which is 40 quid or $50. Hello Santa Claus, how you doing? You got my list of presents? Yes, thank you.
Everybody sing, come on. I love you, baby. And if it's fun or not, I need you, baby. Only nights, I love you, baby. Trust in me when I say, oh pretty baby. Now that I found you, stay and let me love you, baby. Let me love you. You look like
You're so beautiful.
So are you. So are you. Single lady who's not single.
You're so handsome.
You look like pretty.
You're single?
I am single.
She's single.
I thought you were single as well.
I am single too. Wow. You're single.
I knew you were single as soon as I saw you.
Yes, I am single.
I like girls and not boys. In Bohol, 10 days.
Where do you stay?
Staying in Regent. Regent. You know? Room 302.
What do you say about her?
In total, you should spend 3 or 4 nights in Bohol. I'd heard good things about Anda Beach, so I journeyed there. Although it has a nice vibe, it's really not worth the hassle if you've visited the beaches in Panglao. Although in Anda, you won't be greeted by annoying Alona touts. So now you've completed around 12 nights. From Bohol you have a choice. Well, actually you've got plenty of choices wherever you're at. But Camiguin Island is not far away. Camiguin wasn't on my original list. But from there I could continue to Cagayan de Oro, which was. Travellers rave about Camiguin Island. There's no big towns here, just different tourist sites dotted around the island. I settled in a small village on the coast near White Island. You really need a motorbike to travel around Camiguin. So unfortunately chose a Sunday to attempt to visit places. When Sunday is the day, Camiguin closes down for the day, like towns used to on a Sunday back in the UK in the 80s on the Sabbath. On a Sunday the trike drivers have their weekly day off and hit the red horse like there's no tomorrow. So I had to fork out for an expensive motorbike taxi instead. Camiguin has black volcanic sand, so I don't know what the fuss is about. White Island is nice, but there's other islands with sandbars also. So it wasn't really worth visiting Camiguin in my mind, just to visit the sandbar. There's plenty of nicer sandbars to visit in the Philippines. The only reason I advise you to go there is if you want to continue to Mindanao. Anyway, I digress. Don't bother with Camiguin. So where now? You need to go to the ultimate Philippines beach island. Are you a surfer or surfer chick? If so, go to Siargao, baby. People rave about Siargao. Well, it's just Siargao. That always comes from young people. I'm not a surfer chick anymore, but I went anyway. It rained all week. Had been raining all week for 3 consecutive weeks. Was full of hip surfer dudes walking through the streets in their Woolies Pacamacs. Too cool for school. As a senior, I was virtually ignored. So really not my scene at all. But you are young, you run green, keep your teeth nice and clean, so you'll be alright. But do make sure you check the weather patterns for the region you're visiting. From December to March, it's rainy season in Siargao. The quickest way to get there is taking a ferry back to Cebu and catching a direct flight from Mactan. The alternative from going to Siargao is going to Boracay. It's Boracay, you fool! Just a quick reminder to please click the thumbs up button if you liked the video, or thumbs down button if you didn't. Obviously. Thank you. People name Boracay plus El Nido and Coron in Palawan as the ultimate island destinations in the Philippines. But you've only got a week left. Doing all 3 would be pushing it, I feel. Unless you've got a month to play with. You can fly from Cebu to Boracay via Cataclan, which costs only 20 quid. Or $25. How much? Yeah, dirt cheap. I loved Boracay. Stayed there for a week. Could have stayed longer. I loved how everything was compact. Beach, town, and nightlife all in one place. You can walk everywhere. Much more compact than Panglao Island on Bohol. Much more going on and not as many tourist touts spoiling my cheerful persona. But there are plenty of tourists. So it's very touristy, with hundreds of people on White Beach at sunset, battling for the perfect Insta spot. But thankfully there's plenty of white beach to go around. Just head to the perimeter if you want to be away from the crowds. You can find some nice quiet spots if you want to be alone and have a quiet drink at sunset, contemplating your navel, as I did. It was getting pretty hairy down there, as a passing Filipina was pretty quick to point out. But the following morning I attacked it with a machete on Bolobog Beach, as the wind made off with my chest wig. They say Boracay is expensive, but you can find budget places, as I did. And places selling happy hour beers all day to keep you happy. You can fly from Boracay onto El Nido, which costs over 100 quid. It's only a toy plane flies there. Or you can go from Cebu to El Nido. You can also fly from Cebu or Boracay to Coron, or vice versa. So it is possible to do all three, but slightly hectic, as are all these flight logistics between these destinations that are getting me all confuddled. Anyway, all I did was go to Boracay, because I ran out of time and Skyscanner kept crashing with all the flight combinations I was trying. On my next visit I need to go to Palawan to visit El Nido and Coron, and then I can make another video. Or a proper video next time that actually includes footage of El Nido and Coron.
Okay, ready, girls? 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Boracay!
Here at BWC, we are a sharing community. So could you kindly keep Uncle content by sharing this video with your friends? Thank you. Anyway, if you liked the video, please could you like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to ding the notification bell to see my videos before your friends. See you on the next video. Take care, everyone.